John Mayer came out with this little song. It's called Whiskey, Whiskey, Whiskey. And it's from his Born and Raised album. And this was when, he was sort of experimenting more with country, Americana, that type of sound. Definitely not the stereotypical John Mayer sound that we think of, like, Continuum, for example. But Born and Raised, an album that I enjoy very much, for many reasons. And Whiskey, Whiskey, Whiskey is one of those reasons. I might have to call this song Whiskey times 3. Just take a shot every time I say whiskey. Anyways, this song, it's been a little rough lately. For many, it's always rough. If you know me to any extent on this channel, you know that I'm always a little bit more of a pessimist, of a disappointed idealist, if you will. And I like my fair of sad songs, right? And Whiskey, Whiskey, Whiskey times 3, is a song that can be quite cathartic, and that really comforts me. And, the instrumentation is beautiful. The lyrics are fantastic, which is no surprise, right? It's a John Mayer song. So today I figure we listen to the song, react to it, and then we talk about it afterwards and definitely look at the lyrics. But before we do, make sure to give this video a like, comment down below, have you listened to the song before, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff like this. Oh boy. That harmonica, man, just gets me. The bass is so good.
We pick up in New York City. I'm trying to find the man I never got to be. But when I pushed down on the pavement, I found the whole thing so much harder than it seemed. The only deal I ever signed, no devil drew a dotted line. The stage was set, the words were mine, I'm not complaining. Whiskey, 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 water, 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 sleep.
Love that.
Whiskey, 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 wake up, shake it off and repeat. It's just a phase, it's not forever. It's just a phase, but I still might have.
Reminds me a little bit of like Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. It's so good, man.
Every night around this time, my friends and I, we treat it like a race. When I really start to break it down, I wouldn't trust a girl who knew about this place. Walking home with no one left, speak softly underneath my breath. Hey world, you ain't seen nothing yet. Great, now it's raining. Whiskey, 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 water, 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 sleep. Whiskey, 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 wake up, shake it off and repeat.
It's so moody,
It's just a phase, it's not forever. It's just a phase, but I still might have a
so much going on, so much.
Whiskey, 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 water, 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 sleep.
Love that.
Dream somebody missed me. Wake up, shake it off and repeat and repeat and repeat after me. whiskey, whiskey, water, 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 sleep. Whiskey, 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 cut me off and pour me in the street. Whiskey, 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 water, 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 sleep.
Love that. Wow. God. Oh boy. I mean, it is just, it sounds exactly like what it's about, you know, about a person, whoever the protagonist is, just going about their life. They're going through something, and alcohol is the one thing that is allowing them to sort of, you know, numb whatever they're feeling, but also kind of, you know, like they think that it's helping them, you know, they think that it's treating whatever they're going through, whatever they're feeling. But my estimation, right, is that it's sort of a numbing agent. That's really what it's for. You know, it's just kind of this friend that is there comforting you, but it's really just, you know, this really intoxicating drug, literally. I'm not an alcoholic, and I don't want to say it that way. I don't drink alcohol, so I'm definitely not an alcoholic. But I've seen the effects of alcohol, you know, to, you know, I guess more. Thankfully, I mean, I don't have firsthand experience with, you know, extreme alcoholism or secondhand experience. You know, like I haven't seen my family do it or anything like that, but I have heard of from other people what that is like and how awful it is. And I also am very familiar with, you know, sort of more casual alcohol drinking, but a little bit more than just casual. And even that type of alcoholism kind of bothers me, I'm not going to lie, because it's always been this sort of numbing thing, you know, like it's always been this sort of thing that people do to avoid dealing with something or to allow them to have a good time, you know, which is like, I don't know. I think it's kind of cowardly. Then again, you know, I mean, a lot of alcoholism, it can be genetic, you know, it can be this thing where your body biologically, genetically, you are predisposed almost more than others to fall into, you know, you are more likely to fall into these addictions because of your biology, because of your genetics. That is a thing. And so I definitely have, you know, what's the word? Sympathy, you know, for that. And I can understand that. And I don't want to say that everyone who does it is a coward. But anyways, I digress. I mean, that is what the song is, I think, really talking about, right? Someone's going through something, and alcohol is the thing that is keeping them sort of afloat, you know, floating by. But it's not doing any. I mean, it's completely depressing. You know what I mean? Like, it's the equivalent of someone who's just depressed, right? And all they do is sleep, you know, just do nothing, you know, because they're just trying to numb, right? The music, I think, perfectly speaks to that, you know. I mean, it's incredibly mellow. It's incredibly kind of, you know, it's kind of slow. But melodically, it is so powerful, you know, and it is very, you know, it's got that typical, you know, kind of Americana, you know, country harmonica sound to it, literally right in the beginning. But the melody is just so beautiful that immediately right from the beginning, I'm hooked. Immediately right from the beginning, I'm like, okay, I'm here, you know, like it's the living room is dark, it's dimly lit. I got one light, you know, shining in the corner with the seat, and there's a bottle of whiskey there, you know, and I'm sitting down there, and I take a seat, I start drinking, you know, like that is what's going on. That is what I envision when I listen to this song. It paints such a great, you know, seeing imagery. That's what this song does. And the feeling of it, more than anything, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a gorgeous song. And then John Mayer's melody as well. His singing is amazing, and his songwriting skills, in this song are absolutely incredible. It has a lot of flourishes. The production is fantastic. There's great panning. There's a certain part of the song where he kind of goes off. He's doing his typical John Mayer, guitar, showing off his skills, but it's buried in the background. It's not in the forefront.
Sleep. Dream somebody missed me. Wake up, shake it off.
Which, he's kind of tends to do a lot of the times. He is a fantastic guitarist, one of the most skilled guitarists, I think, in the music industry. If you see John Mayer play, you know that he's very skilled, especially when he was in his early 20s, of course. He can make a guitar sing, in ways that very few people can. Because it's not necessarily about how skillful you are or how technical you are, it's about what you play. He can make his songs so much more sophisticated, but he doesn't, because he doesn't want to sacrifice, the song's reach, the song's relatability, the song's ability to just be more simple and effective, right? I really commend that. But man, musically, especially towards the end, you saw me there. I was just kind of closing my eyes, just kind of grooving away. It's a total song that really speaks to me. It's just the early, mid to later 20s. I'm 26. I will be 27 next year. It's not the best. Not the best. I heard that the 30s are better. But God, man, from like 22, to like even 21, I would say, to like, probably 30, hopefully. It's just terrible, man. At least from my experience, from 21 to now, like, it's been so bad. You just feel like you don't belong. You feel like you don't have anything right, anything figured out. And there's a lot of just numbing. Everyone has their numbing agent. You know what I mean? For some people, it's alcohol. For some people, it's sleeping. For some people, it's video games. Scrolling on Instagram for what seems to be forever. Everyone has their thing, and whenever you depend on that too much, it can get really ugly. For me, though, it's actually even, I would think, to a certain degree, more serious, because there are things that I enjoy that I even don't do. I do the complete thing that, like, is the most effective time waster, which is like scrolling or, watching YouTube videos incessantly. You know what I mean? Like, I love YouTube, but like using it incessantly is just kind of, it kind of becomes a bad thing to a certain extent. I guess you could say that about anything, but yeah, it's either that or scrolling, or literally just doing nothing, sleeping, like, I enjoy playing video games. I enjoy watching movies. I enjoy listening to music, but I can't even do those things when I'm in like my depressed state. It's just so sad. It's like I can't even do I can't even do the things that would allow me to escape. Like, that's how bad it is, right? And I imagine that at some point alcohol can, emulate those things. This feeling of complete time wasters. You're just a zombie. And, you're not even enjoying your time. You're not even escaping in a way that is enjoyable. You're not escaping your pain in a way that's enjoyable. It is just, you're doing it to just not be here. But it's, it's terrible. This song just is very cathartic to that, especially towards the end. But let's take a look at the lyrics here. And let's analyze the genius songwriting here. All right, so we pick up in New York City. I'm trying to find a man I never got to be. But when I pushed down on the pavement, I found the whole thing so much harder than it seemed. I don't know if he's sort of reminiscing here, thinking of his time back in New York City, like when he really made it. Although I think didn't he make it like in Georgia? Like, I think that's where he got famous, like really famous. But I don't know. Maybe it's that thing where, if you move to New York or LA, like that's how you've made it, right? I don't know what this could mean. Or he went back to New York City, he's trying to sort of mend some things or trying to have some clarification on certain points of his life, and he goes back there. He's got some unfinished business in a way. I'm not sure. The only deal I ever signed, no devil drew a dotted line. The stage was set. The words were mine. I'm not complaining. I guess that's where he's talking about, like, I don't necessarily regret, like, I mean, that it was, I had a great past or whatever, there was a lot of great moments, or everything that happened was kind of my fault, I'm not necessarily complaining about that. I'm not blaming anyone else. But I guess there's some things that were awful, or that were bad, that didn't turn out the way I wanted it to be. I guess that goes back to the beginning, right? I'm trying to find a man I never got to be. So he I guess he has some regrets, but it's that thing where he can't blame anyone else, And this is very interesting, right? Of course, it's very makes perfect sense. I mean, John Mayer is this person who's gone through a lot, not only in his life because of his age, but I mean, he's been through quite a lot in the media. I think he's sort of going through a phase right now where I think the world and America doesn't really care about him anymore. I think he said it himself. There was this interview on YouTube that he did. There's this little clip where he says, like, I think I'm America's ex-boyfriend. Like that's the sort of thing. And I think that's certainly true. And, I not only do I think that's musically the case, but I think, obviously as a personality, yes. But, also just even for him personally, he's I'm not saying people should be married at this time. I'm not saying people, should not be, should be, whatever. Like, but, he's, I think in his early 40s or mid 40s. I'm not sure, but he's not married. He doesn't have any kids. He's gone through a lot of relationships. And he has expressed in the past that he does want to get married. He just, hasn't found the right one, like it just hasn't happened. But, given other songs that he's written and his past relationships and stuff, you could tell that this guy has just been through a lot, along with his partners. And, you feel for him. I certainly do. I don't know if it's his fault or not, Clearly here to a certain extent, he's saying, it was kind of my fault. You know what I mean? Like, I did some of this stuff knowingly. I did it, but maybe it was probably my fault. I'm not going to blame anyone else. I'm not sure. Maybe I could be completely misinterpreting this, but yeah, we go into the chorus here. Whiskey, 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 water, 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 sleep. Well, at least he's drinking water while he's having his whiskey. Wake up, shake it off, and repeat. It's just a phase. Oh, I mean... This part right here, it's just a phase. It's not forever. It's just a phase, but I still might have a ways to go. My God, so beautiful. Musically, that section just has this background vocals. It's very kind of like, feels like you're floating. It is just phenomenal. It's a beautiful, ethereal part of the song. And like I mentioned, it reminded me of kind of Stairway to Heaven, sort of that dun 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 dun. The part where Robert Plant goes, ooh, it makes me wonder. Dun 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 dun. It's just beautiful, very ethereal, very legato, just long and just gorgeous. But yeah, whiskey, 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 water, water, water. I mean, again, right? That is the behavior of just numbing, of just, it's just terrible what humans do, to avoid suffering, but really what they do to avoid suffering oftentimes makes them suffer more, it's just terrible. It's really sad. And it's very hard to get rid of that, right? Every night around this time, my friends and I, we treat it like a race. When I really start to break it down, I wouldn't trust a girl who knew about this place. Ooh, that's interesting. I guess he's saying he's going out with his friends and stuff, and it's like, oh, like, treat it like a race as in who can get drunk faster. And then he's saying, but when I really think about it, I wouldn't want to be with someone who knows about this. Who knows about this place, knows about this activity, who is doing this activity, right? That's awful. Barking on with no one left, speak softly underneath my breath. Hey world, you ain't seen nothing yet. Great, now it's raining. Oh my God, that is so depressing. Everybody's gone and you're just there alone. Oh my God. First of all, this is partly too, you got to think about this. Like, oftentimes, we think that celebrities are sort of detached from the normal person experience. Like we like to think, oh my God, like Brad Pitt, right? Like, how hard would it be for him, like, to be sad? He's Brad Pitt, like, God, who's going to break up with Brad Pitt? You know what I mean? Like, why? Why would you? He's Brad Pitt. But I think we fail to realize that just because you're rich and famous doesn't mean that all your problems just get eliminated. That now you play like the game of life on easy mode. I mean, think about it. Everything sort of scales, once it's like running a business, you know what I mean? Like, it's tough, running a small business. It's tough running a multi-million-dollar business, because then you have so many other things you worry about, like stakeholders and board meetings, and all of that, right? Like, it's crazy. Everything just gets heightened. Oftentimes, it can get even worse than the life of a normal person. I mean, think about it, right? Like, think of you being a celebrity where you can't even go out and about, enjoy your life without people taking pictures of you and shit and ruining and, like getting in your way, And so, like, I don't know, even someone like John Mayer, I'm like, how does John Mayer go to somewhere and then get drunk and then end up alone? Like, wouldn't you want to, like, talk with John Mayer? Wouldn't you want to be there? But at a certain point, he's probably hanging around with people who don't see him as John Mayer. You know what I mean? Like, they just see him as a normal dude. Maybe they're rich as hell too. Maybe they're richer than him, right? And they're sort of on the same level or a little bit above him, right? Because I imagine as a celebrity, there's probably a certain point in your celebrity life where you do hang around with a bunch of yes people. But then eventually, if you're smart, you get rid of that because that can be incredibly toxic and awful. And there's still people this celebrities, I'm sure to this day, that still hang around with those people. That's just disgusting. Where you just hang around with people who just, love you and just kind of like they're your little entourage. Like that's terrible. I imagine everybody does it, and I certainly would do it. It's very easy to do that. But again, it's crazy to me, the idea, right, of John Mayer somehow ending up alone, drinking, after he was with people. It's like even John Mayer can have that average man experience of that depressed guy who goes into a bar who ends up alone. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? And that's fascinating. And, I'm glad that life is that way, that the life experiences and just life perspectives in general, no matter who you are, no matter what you have, it's the great equalizer. Everybody's equal at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And John Mayer dealing with all this stuff is, as relatable as it gets. You know what I mean? Is as average as it gets. Just because he's John Mayer doesn't mean that he's above all of these issues. And I think him, expressing it into a song and everything is beautiful. It's what, it's what he should do. Now he's providing a service to us in a way, and not only is he providing catharsis to himself, but he's giving us the tools to potentially get us through something as well, right? But he's speaking softly underneath his breath. Hey world, you ain't seen nothing yet. God, that is so pathetic. And that is so typical, right? Like, I kind of hate being around people who are drunk. Like, I do. Like, it just really bothers me because they become sort of even more enjoyable. And like, they become more enjoyable versions of themselves, which is not okay, because it's like, I wish you were this person without it. But like, even that is like fine. Like, because like, I don't care that, that you're better to hang around with when you're drunk. Like, I just wish that wasn't the case at all. I would hang around with you when you're not drunk, and that's great. That can suffice. You know what I mean? Like, but the fact that you're a better person in a way, like when you're drunk, and it's much fun. It's more fun to be around with you then. That's great, but it's just still gross, the fact that you had to get drunk for me to have more fun with you. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's a weird thing. But yeah, when someone's just kind of drunk, they just say a bunch of stuff. Everyone has their drunk personality, right? And I imagine that when you're incredibly, incredibly drunk, that's when you go into your deepest, darkest areas. It's just also you can become this incredibly egotistical, incredibly kind of like, like a person that would say, hey, world, you ain't seen nothing yet. You know what I mean? As you're lying there, in the most pathetic way possible, alone, drinking, you're beyond drunk and you're just still saying to the world that, oh, I don't you worry, like, I got this, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't seen nothing yet, man. It's just pathetic. It's just terribly pathetic. It's just fully embracing this ego, this mud of ego, this river, this gross river of mud, and you're just like, you're bathing in it like a goddamn pig, and you're in the most pathetic place possible. You know what I mean? This mud pen, it's really pathetic. And so it's really incredibly embarrassing. And the fact that he even wrote this is really courageous, I think. And then great, now it's raining, right? It's that cherry on top. And then we go into the chorus. It's just a phase, but I still might have a ways to go. I guess that's what you tell yourself too, right? Definitely. Oh, it's okay. It's just a part right now of my life, but it's all right. I'll get through it, Just a fucking lie. Dream somebody missed me. Wake up, shake it off and repeat. Yeah. That's sad too. The fact that you dream that somebody misses you. Oh my God. He must have been, in an incredibly lonely place, in his mind and his real life. Again, John Mayer, the God being depressed that somebody, is not, that people aren't missing him, that he feels alone. It's crazy. I mean, it just goes to show you that, it doesn't matter who the hell you are. You have your problems, and, listening to art like this and really taking in art like this has allowed me to sort of have a more balanced, have a more balanced judgment of the world, because I'm certainly not, I think to a certain degree, yes, there are people who are in positions of power and positions of influence who abuse it, and, and they should pay for it, of course. And then, but I think an even greater amount is those people, who just, some people have a lot of money, some people don't. And these two people can have commonalities, as hard as it may seem to think that, pain, suffering, love, that's all universal. It's devoid of how much money you have or how much influence you have. And in many cases, it might be even greater about here, when you're in this area, it might be even more painful and awful here than it is here. And sometimes it can be more painful and terrible here. It depends, No one thing is better than the other. It's very interesting, but repeat after me. Then we go into the chorus again. Whiskey, 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 water, water. Cut me off and pour me in the street. Oh my God. Cut me off and pour me in the street? Jesus. This song is incredibly depressing, dude. I don't know. I guess that's just sort of a, it's painting the picture of like just him being a bum, like just God. Wow. Yeah, here we have the About section, track 10 from Mayer's folk rock album. Folk, I guess that's another genre. This song is perhaps one of Mayer's most saddening, honest work as he talks about his dependence on alcohol during a low point in his life. Yeah. Jesus, man. Yeah, this song is, reading the lyrics, I mean, it's even more powerful than I thought. I mean, I've looked at the lyrics here and there, but I guess I didn't take the time to fully really express and really digest them as much as I did here in this video. So, hey, we're all learning something here. There we have it, everyone. Whiskey, Whiskey, Whiskey by John Mayer. Incredibly beautiful, incredibly moving, very cathartic song, especially if you're at a low point in your life. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you relate with this song? Do you like it? Do you hate the song? Do you think it's boring or whatever? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you have a different perspective of the song? Please feel free to share it down in the comment section below. Give this video a like if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Share with your John Mayer loving friends if you will. If it's your birthday, happy birthday to you, you beautiful creature. But I think that's it for me. You all take care. Stay safe, and until next time, I love you.